right now with Dahan that we watched on Hulu. Take it away, Em. What was it about?
Well, here, how about this? Because I'm actually really excited about this. I'm going to steal the floor from Tim
Let him do it. Yes, Michael,
because
go for it.
I I may be overhyping this show a little bit, but at the same time, I am a fan of you know, horror films, horror series. Like Stranger Things was a great thing for me to watch. So when I see something that's put together like Dahan was and really dives into lore, I start getting pretty excited. And I honestly think that this is one of the few, if not for me at least, this was the first horror series I've seen that I feel like is headed in the right direction and was doing something right. So let me just give you some context on that big claim here. So Dahan is about an IAS officer named Avni who is in this fictional village in Rajasthan called Shilaspura, and legend has it that in this town that it's cursed by a sorcerer, and there's this big mine that has rare minerals in it, but it's also cursed by this sorcerer who was beheaded there as well. So Avni is now taking on this case to essentially be like a mediator between a mineral company and the people of this village. The mineral company wants to go in there and actually extract out these rare minerals, but the people are, saying that it's cursed. Like you will open up Pandora's box if you do so. And Avni is the one who's actually taken on this challenge here. And so we see a lot of essentially Avni did open Pandora's box, and you are followed with some pretty scary moments, but very, very well done moments. Let me just compare it to a show that I really like, which is Stranger Things. For those of you that have watched this, everyone really likes that this show is very well paced. It is not one where there are jump scares everywhere. It's not one that is done cheesy. Like, not only is it paced, but there is lore behind it, and it gets you sucked into a world. And that is exactly what Dahan is doing. And at the same time, it really takes time to let the characters develop as well. So we are actually rooting for Avni, who is this, very hardworking IAS officer, but who's also having a lot of family dynamics at home with her son. She is a widowed mother, and her son believes that her mother's holding out details on her father's death, so he's real rebellious, and she's having to balance these two things at once. So we really do feel for Avni, but then too, the horror elements in this are actually good. They are not your cheesy jump scares. They are drawn out, suspenseful moments. And honestly, there are some gruesome scenes in this as well. If you are a fan of that, if you're not, your skin might crawl a little bit having to watch it. But I will say it's certainly not one that's just all blood and gore, one that's all jump scares. It's one that will get you wrapped up into a world that you can really enjoy watching and develop. And throughout the 9 episodes, whenever the final credits came up, I really did feel satisfied watching this. Okay, I've watched something over the last few weeks. I haven't watched something like Dahan before. I know I may be overhyping it, but I know when we were talking before the recording, you were you had to turn off the TV at some points. Are you a big horror fan? What was up with
I
this film for you?
I'm absolutely not a horror fan. And not only that, but I get scared watching horror, and I literally was watching this at night. I started watching in the afternoon, and of course, it's like 7 to 8 episodes, right?
Yeah,
And
9.
9 episodes. So when I reached around the third episode, I just couldn't bear it because it was almost night by then, and I swear to God, it was scary watching it because that's when the build up starts. It's purposefully slowly building up because
Yep.
once Avni reaches Shilashpura, which is the town where she's supposed to be posted as a district magistrate, what you see is a lot of people withholding a lot of information from her because she's an outsider, but also, they're looking at her weirdly because one, she's a woman. Number two, she doesn't wear, traditional clothes or cover her head or whatever. She's walking around in jeans and tees, literally. And so the attitude of the men is a little weird. The attitude of everybody around her is weird. And also they're hiding what you feel is there's a lot of superstition. So you leave it at superstition till episodes start happening with Avni and with Amay and in their home in the circuit house where they're living, and her old friend who's also in IS, who's doing some geological survey of the place. He's there as well. So it's a lot of factors that start playing, and you don't know whether it's her mind because she's on depression medication after her husband committed suicide. You don't know whether it is the medication that's doing it to her, or her guilt of her husband's suicide that's doing it to her, or these things are really happening. And then there is this political, religious politics of, people holding the religious family holding the rest of the villages ransom for their beliefs because they want the power to, own money and own power in that place. So it's a lot of subplots that move together, and then they clash, and they move, and they clash.
And a lot of plot
things
twists.
happen.
Well done plot twists to that note as well. Like this one keeps you on the edge of your seat, and you're never gonna know really what happens next. We just talked about probably what we thought to be maybe one of the most predictable films out there. This is everything but that, and I really like that for me because it kept me invested throughout all the episodes, and ultimately makes you invested in the lore as well. I think that's like if I had to like come away with one big thing about this is they built a world for you to be immersed in and for you to like, crawl under the blanket, get scared with as well. I think they did it very well. If you can get past the first couple of episodes and really just digest the context, you're in for a treat. Some people may not like that it takes a couple episodes.
And Michael, I have to point out to our viewers and listeners that the performances were stellar.
That's right.
Throughout the show, throughout all the episodes. Tisca Chopra plays Avani, and she's so convincing as Avani that you really feel her. You really feel the crossroads of her life. But then I have to say that Rohan Joshi, who plays Amay, her son, is brilliant as he might be a teenager, I guess, right? He's brilliant as this rebellious kid who actually doubts his mother and hates his mother because he thinks she's hiding stuff about the father's suicide from him. And then the other actors like Mukesh Tiwari, who's playing Bhairo Singh, then Saurabh Shukla, the guy who's the main priest guy, Ankur Nair, Rahul Tiwari, Hima Singh, they all are brilliant in their parts.
Yep. I mean, I have to also clap my hands to the director because, Vikram Pawar, I think really came, like everything I just said, I mean, he came at this with an absolute playbook and just executed. And like I said, it was really nice this week to be able to sit down and watch something like this, especially after having watched, some things that may have not seemed the most planned out. Really thought the show did well, and it is actually setting a precedent for more series like this as well.
Absolutely.
So this was on